What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'm going to be showing you all the settings on the Hisense H9F and just going over it, right, for those guys and gals out there who are looking to buy this TV. So we're going to hit the home button, and this is going to be with Wi-Fi off. Now, I did not update my TV at all. I did turn it on Wi-Fi. Like when you go on Wi-Fi, what ends up happening is they ask you if you want to consent after a while. So you just got to wait, like I'd say maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll like wait on this home menu for like 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't take that long, but that's the time frame I'm giving you because that's when it will eventually pop up within. And then it'll ask you if you want to consent to basically the AI feature. And if you say yes, then you'll get a new option in your picture settings, and we'll talk about all that. But essentially, this is the Android 8.0 format. It's very basic. There's not a lot to it, right? It's Android 8.0. It's as entertaining and as wonderful as that can be. It's very basic. There's not a lot here, right? So yeah, you kind of, to each his own. I don't really like it personally. I don't think it's great. It's not very snappy, but as you see, like it's not like a sluggish thing. I can move around, but it's not as snappy either. It does take some time to respond to some things, so that's my thing with it. But you do have the new feature there. You can add your favorite apps by going down here. You will have to do that for screen mirroring. I've already done that. And also for media sharing, you just add it and it'll show up here. So if you wanted to hook up a USB stick or something like that, this is how you get to those things, or like a external hard drive and watch family videos. That's how you would do that. And then screen sharing, which is screen mirroring. If you want to share things from your phone to your TV, you can also do that as well. Now, we're going to go into the settings and we're going to talk about some of this stuff here. So under network, you have your network settings. I recommend keep it off. Don't put your Wi-Fi information in at all during the initial setup. You can do it after the fact, but not during the initial setup, because then it will immediately kick you in to update the TV. That's why I say when you get it, skip the Wi-Fi part. Do it later, like way after the fact. And that's only if you want the AI feature. If you really don't care about AI features, you really don't need automatic tuning and switching of picture modes, then I would skip it altogether, quite frankly. If you skip it, you run no risk of updating. But that being said, it didn't prompt me to update, so I'm good to go there. It said that my TV is good to go in every aspect because I checked the software. Coming out of the software, I'm actually on the current version of the software that gave my last Hisense glitches. So I found that very weird. Like, this is a newer Hisense, my replacement model that you guys see here, and it has no issues whatsoever being on the update coming from the manufacturer. And that's what I'm talking about. But if you have to update, an existing old firmware, it's always going to be a problem because there's always a chance that there's something that's going to be de-optimized in the process, and more often than not, it does happen that way. And given the current market, Wi-Fi is not a good thing because a lot of these companies know that you'll update if they hold out on a feature like Dolby Vision. So they gimp your TV after they get reviews, and they schedule the update like that. I'm telling you from experience. I mean, I'm in the calibration game way too long, guys. Like, really. I mean, I've seen TVs, and I'm telling you guys, that's what's going to happen to you. So that disclaimer out of the way, we're going to talk about more than just Wi-Fi here. So you have scanning always available, and that will let it always scan for networks and things like that if you turn it on. I turn that stuff off. I recommend you do that too. Any view stream, I actually don't know what this does. I haven't actually experimented with it or used it. It's more of the same. I don't use any of that stuff. You have your not connected. You have your proxy settings if you are in all that. IP settings if you're in all that. You know what to do with that. Under inputs, it's very generic. You don't really have a whole lot. So it starts with HDMI 1. You can click on HDMI 1, and then it can say you can show this name or show this input, and then you can choose what you want it to be called: Blu-ray, cable, DVD, game console, aux, or you can do a custom name. And I think that's really cool that they give you that option. I wish they would have done that with the presets like Vizio did, but they don't do that. Now, when you have the HDMI 1, 3, and 4, they're normal, but I don't know what standby input is all about, so I really couldn't tell you a whole lot about that. I don't work for Hisense, and they don't brief me or pay me to do anything, so I really don't know what standby input is. So if anybody does know, I'd be glad if you can educate me on that, because I actually have no idea what a standby input is. I'm not accustomed to that. Now, under the regular you know, not connected inputs, you have component and composite, or rather composite and no component. You can click on it, and again, more of the same, you can just name it. And that's pretty much the same across the board. Now, under here, you can choose HDMI control. If you're one of those people that don't like the TV turning on your sound bar every time you turn on the TV, then you're gonna wanna turn off HDMI control, because it allows the TV to power on and off your HDMI enabled devices and things like that. Same thing for auto device power on and off, things like that. So just be mindful of that. Again, auto TV power on, it'll allow HDMI devices as well to turn on the TV. So if you don't want to turn on your soundbar and then the TV comes on or something like that, then you might want to just go ahead and play with all those little things and turn them off. Your picture options here. To go over picture settings, you have backlight, so local dimming you have set to medium. You can turn it off, but as you see, it doesn't really help the picture much. You can set it to high, and you can benefit from really good local dimming. But when you turn it off, that's how you get to the actual traditional backlight. You set it to whatever number you want, 99, whatever, and then you go in and then you add local dimming to set it. And so that's how it works. Auto light limiting feature, your light sensor, sorry, automatic light sensor. That's basically just gonna give you the ability to, again, use automatic light sensors based off of the ambient lighting in your room. This is the auto picture mode, by the way. The only way you get auto picture mode is, again, like I was saying earlier, you have to kind of wait on that menu, on this Google Home menu for like, 5 to 10 minutes. It'll pop up and it'll give you this thing asking you if you want to consent to, the enhanced viewing. So for those who don't have the enhanced viewing option and your thing is saying that your software is up to date, I've actually run into this on a couple Hisense so far. Not today, but I think like this week. But either way, I've ran into it on a couple of Hisenses. So if you have problems where you only have usage mode, but you don't have this enhanced viewing, you're gonna have to turn on Wi-Fi, but make sure whatever you do, you'd never select update, and you just wait for it to give you the consenting to the enhanced viewing or the AI function, and then that's how you get that stuff enabled. I wanted to go over that because I know that's a real big thing. Back in the picture options, you have all the normal stuff. You have, vivid, standard, energy savings, theater day, game, sports, theater night, and auto only becomes available after you consent via Wi-Fi connectivity to, again, allow them to give you real-time recognition of your content. And again, you've got normal things, contrast, sharpness, tint, you guys know the deal. We got advanced settings, which have an overscan feature. You can turn that on. I haven't really experimented with this to see how well it does or does not work, so I'll just leave it on to mess around with it and let you guys know. You can set low for the warmest color temperature. You can set medium for not so warm. I honestly find mid-low to be really good. Low is a little too much sometimes. Medium and high, they just get really, really cool and make the picture really blue, as you see here. I don't like that at all. I think the sweet spot is mid-low. That's basically warm one. Motion enhancements, you have custom, off, film, clear, standard. I found the best for me personally to be smooth. I really like it. I think it's great. Then you have motion clearness, black frame insertion. As you guys see, it flickers on camera, but in real life, it doesn't flicker at all. Like at all. Samsung was a mess. I couldn't even use it, but this is so usable in a really, really dark room. Now, in a bright room, not gonna work because it dims the picture too much, but otherwise, it's really good. Oh, and a special note, for those wondering, I know a lot of you guys reference artings.com and their reviews to me all the time, but guys, they were lying when they told you that unlike most TVs, the black frame insertion on this doesn't dim the TV and you can adjust the brightness. You cannot. There is no feature for you to do that. So, be mindful that they have no idea what they're talking about. As you see, it dimmed the image and that brightens it up. So again, I keep telling you, don't use Artings. They don't know what they're talking about. They're like literally not in the know, but hey, I'll digress. I'm not here to bash them. Do what you want. But you guys are seeing it throughout the years that, again, I'm proving they don't know what they're doing. That being said, you have noise reduction capabilities. Noise reduction handles overall generic noise reduction of your TV. Digital noise reduction is going to deal with, that grain that you're going to see in your film and in your internet video and things like that. Like when you run into a really pixelated, really crappy YouTube video that's like 360p or something like that. You want to turn on digital noise for that kind of stuff. And anytime you're streaming a video and it looks a little rough. Active contrast is basically dynamic contrast. It artificially boosts the contrast, the brightest parts of the whites and the darkest parts of the black, usually resulting in crushed blacks. I don't really recommend you use it unless you know how to use it. You can go from auto color space. I don't recommend that, but if you like a washed out, or as they call it, natural color paletry, rock auto. It washes out a little much for me. Native is that deal because native gives you the ability to experience some popping, punching color. You can then go into active contrast and you can like do things like adjust low and high and all that. You can set it to low. I don't recommend you go too much past that again if you're not doing like some sort of custom calibration for it. You can go into calibration settings. So you have color tuner. That's just basically going to be a regular color space management system where you can adjust all that stuff. Or you can go into, on top of that rather, I should actually show this off. So you have your colors for like your red, your green, your blue, the primaries, and then you have your yellow, your cyan, your magenta, and then you have flesh tone, which is really helpful for those who hate overly cartoony, oversaturated skin tones in your movies. You can actually go into that and you can adjust and desaturate the skin tones. You see, I've already taken the liberty of calibrating and doing that. But again, you can get rid of those oversaturated cartoony skin tones that you don't like. Now, under gamma, of course, you have 0 through 3, so you can do that. And if you're not happy with the results, you can go further and do a gamma calibration, which again, you can do if you'd like to. I haven't applied it to auto yet. I have applied it to, I think it was like theater day, and that's the only one I've applied one to. Now, picture size, you have a various amount, as you can clearly see. You have automatic, which will do it automatically. You have normal, which will be normal. Zoom, which will over zoom and crop in the image. Wide will stretch everything out. Direct kind of stretches everything out too. Panoramic makes everything look really crunched together. And cinematic, again, it just kind of will mess up your aspect ratio. The best one to go with if you don't know what you're doing is auto. I think it was on normal or auto, but I'll just do auto for argument's sake. And your current apply to all picture settings, you could do that. HDMI 2.0 format, that's basically going to give you the ability to add the enhanced, which will give you wide color and all that good stuff. Now for the sound, you have a couple different options. Once you're in the sound option, I have sound system enabled. As you guys see, I have my ARC selected, but I can go to TV speakers to show you this. You have some really cool options here. So under the AI option, there is an auto mode. So it will go from standard to theater to sports, concert hall, music, speech, which is really good for those who watch documentaries or things like that. Late night, people who don't want, that crazy, loud, over obnoxious nonsense. User mode, you can customize your own thing here, or auto mode, which will again use the AI capabilities of the TV to do all that stuff for you. And it's really, really cool because you have something called Total Sonics, and it's so cool because you can go in and customize little things. You can turn on total surround, total volume. I like a lot because it kind of keeps the TV from getting really loud, and I think that works really good, like as a nighttime deterrent if you want to use one of the other modes. Like let's say instead of auto, you wanted to use like, I don't know, standard. You can turn on Total Sonics and then enjoy that. They have a wall mount setup, so then you can turn that on, and then it can kind of fire the speakers in a way that favors your wall mounting capabilities. You can go in and balance out and do all the EQ stuff. You can go in and adjust PCM linear, or Dolby Digital or Dolby Digital Plus. There is no Dolby Atmos, DTSX, or any of that stuff. You can adjust lip sync, your equalizer, and your preferred language, your headphone mode, your headphone volume. This TV is freaking loaded, right? You're talking about a TV that's $899. A lot of people are frustrated that I talk about the price of the TV so much, but that's important because really though. And by the way, system sounds is just to turn off the binging and the chiming noises when you move around, and I have that disabled. I just disabled, but yeah. And people talk a lot about you shouldn't always talk about the price of the TV, but it's fantastic that you have all these crazy features. AI and a TV that's $899. That said enough. Craziness. Now you can do the Amazon Alexa thing. That'll help you set up your Amazon Alexa devices. Google Cast will allow you to cast things to your TV. And again, I don't really need to do any of that right now because it kind of happens automatically from the device you use. So that just shows you the license and the builds. The apps, again, will show you permissions and usages and access and downloaded apps and all this system memory stuff. Again, most people will never need to use most of this stuff. You can turn on screensaver options, you can choose backdrop or colors, and you can choose to turn it off, so it's entirely up to you. When to start after 5 minutes of inactivity, never put this device to sleep, or start now. You can go into usage mode, which you can pick energy mode, which is basically the home mode, which it won't suck and drain too much power. You can put it in store mode, which will make the TV brighter and run more like a retail store, and it will just run like normal. Or you can do the store mode, where you can have the demo looping or set a demo of your own with your own special unique content for your retail store. That's kind of more advanced stuff that a lot of normal people, again, won't need to use though. If you prefer brightness, you should use store mode. If that's all you're trying to get is just sheer unbridled brightness, that will give it to you. Though honestly, if you want to save a little bit more on your power bill, then you just use the energy home. Though I should test the peak brightness of store mode to see if it gets even higher than what it is right now, because I don't actually know off the top of my head. Now under wake up mode will show you again all your various little Wi-Fi options. You have send diagnostics and usage report to Google when anything messes up. You have setup assistant that'll help you set up the Google Assistant voice control features. Enhanced viewing, again, that's that. Again, automatic content recognition, so it knows whether you're listening to a song, whether you're streaming something, whether you're playing a video game, whether you're watching a golf, tennis, whatever, and all that stuff. That's improving the auto content recognition and knowing scene by scene what to change to. The auto picture mode will again switch based off of what you're watching, whether it's a video game or sports or DVD or whatever the case may be. Auto sound adaptation, same thing, and you can reset. You have storage options, you have about the TV, you have help pages, date, time, languages, keyboard. I mean, really, it goes on and on. And the idea here is that there's not a lot to it, right? It's a Google platform, and just kind of experiment with it. But for the most part, that's pretty much what the TV offers. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below. I want to thank you guys for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.